Hello, my little triglets. Today we're going to talk about section 2 or 10.2, the hyperbola. Hyperbola. Okay, hyperbola is a lot like an ellipse. The formula is very similar. There's one little difference, actually a couple little differences. If we have x squared over a squared, normally for the ellipse we'd have a plus. For hyperbola, it's minus y squared over b squared equals 1. Or you could have y squared over a squared minus x squared over b squared equals 1. So notice in each of these, the a squared is listed first. Okay, it's not the bigger one, it's the first one listed. So when you do the other little formulas, a is the first one listed. X or y can be listed first, it doesn't matter, but whatever's underneath it is how you draw it. So let's try one. Y squared over 16 minus x squared over 36 equals 1. Right away I know it's a hyperbola because of that. And let's see, a squared then is 16 and b squared is 36. So that means since 16 is under the y, I would write this as 0 plus or minus 4. 36 is under the x, so that'd be plus or minus 6, 0. Okay. And if I wanted to find the focus points, these have focus points as well. The formula is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So the ellipse, these signs were plus and minus. For the hyperbola, it's minus and plus. So either way, they're always going to have the opposite plus or minus sign there. All right, so let's figure out what the focus points are. So I have 16 plus 36 equals c squared. That's 52 is c squared. 52 is 4 times 13, so that'd be 2 root 13 is c. And we need to put it plus or minus. And the focus points, again, are always with the a part, just like in the ellipse. So it'd be 0 plus or minus 2 root 13. Now, drawing an ellipse, hyperbola. We go to 0, 4, and negative 4, and then 6. And what we're going to do is we are going to draw a rectangle around those points. And then, let's move up here, and then we draw little crisscross lines through there. Those are our asymptotes. Those are the boundaries. So, and what is listed first? The y is listed first, so that means I have to draw the hyperbola on the y-axis. So whatever's listed first is your a, and it's the one you draw it on. Okay, we call that the transverse axis. Okay, that's the a-axis, transverse axis. And the points, we don't call them major and minor anymore. We call them vertices and conjugate points. Okay, vertices are the A points, conjugate are the B points, and or the conjugate axis, also we can call it. All right, so, and then the focus points are somewhere in here, whatever 2 root 13 equals, they would be in here. But we don't really need them to graph. All right, let's try another one. Let's try, well, let's first write down the formula if it's off center. So x minus h squared over a squared minus y minus k squared over b squared. So it's a lot like the ellipse, where h and k represent the center, and then you have to add to the normal points. Okay, so let's try it. X minus 3 squared over 4 minus y minus 1 squared over 1 equals 1. All right, first of all, we know our center is 3, 1 from the h and the k, and it's opposite of the minus sign. We know that a squared is 4, so that a is plus or minus 4, and it's under the x, so, or plus or minus 2, so then we put that in. B squared is 1, so that means b under the y would be 0 and plus or minus 1. So now we need to add the 3 to the x column and the 1 to the y column. So our actual endpoints, if I add 3 plus 2, that's 5. 1 plus 0 is 1, so there's one of them. Then 3 and minus 2 is 1, and 1 and 0 is 1. Okay, then we have the other ones. 3 plus 0 is 3. 1 and a positive 1, it would be 2. Again, 3 and 0 is 3. And 1 and a negative 1 is 0. So we need to plot those points. So 5, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1. 1 and 1 is here. 3 and 2 is here. 3 and 0 is here. And we draw our little rectangle around that. And I'm going to draw some crisscross lines in here to help me guide. Now what was listed first, let's go back up here. X is listed first. So that means we have to draw our hyperbola on the x-axis. Now it used to be right here, so we know it's side to side, but we need to go in our boundaries here. And make sure you hit that point in the middle here, and then go along the boundaries. Try not to make it, like this. Try to get it next to the boundary lines. Okay, so that's drawing it off center. So you find the normal points, then you add your center points to it. Now, what if we are in the other form, the already foiled out form? Let's try that. 250y minus 489. Okay, so this is in general form. We need to get it in the parentheses form. This is where we need to complete the square. Okay, now we've done this before, but we got to remember a few things. These two next to each other, I need to take a 4 out front, and then what I have left is x squared minus 6x plus blank. Okay, and over here, I'm going to bring the 489 over and then add the blank I just added. Now these two, I'm going to take out a negative 25. Okay, and what I have left is y squared minus 10y and then plus blank. And I have to add my other blank over here. All right, this is where you got to be careful. The 4 is still there. This, I need to cut this in half, so x minus 3, and then square the 3, and I get 9. But what am I actually adding to that part? It's not just 9, it's 4 times 9. So this blank over here is 36. Okay, so be careful with that. Don't just add 9 to both sides. All right, next, the negative 25. This is y, cut this in half, square it to get 25, but we're really negative 25 times 25 is negative 625. All right, adding all the right side up, I get negative 100. All right, another little quirky thing coming up here. When I divide everything by a negative 100, what's going to happen here? Right here, it's going to reduce to negative 25 on the bottom. These two are going to reduce to a positive, and it'll be a 4 on the bottom. So here's the problem. I have a negative here and a positive here. This is supposed to be a hyperbola. So I need to switch those two so the negative's in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to take this one and put it over here and this one over here. So y minus 5 squared over 4. This minus is now the minus in between, and then we have equals 1. Okay, so your center is 3, -5. And the points you can get, let's see, now the first one listed is that 4. So a squared is 4, so a is plus or minus. Well, it's actually 0 plus or minus since it's under the y, 2. B squared is 25, so b is 5, so that'd be plus or minus 5, 0. And then we need to add our center points to each column. So let's go a different color here. So 3 plus 0 is 3. -5 and a +2 would be -3. Again, 3 and 0 is 3. -5 and a -2 would be -7. Then I go to the next one, and I have 3 and a +5, a -5 and a 0. Then I have 3 and a -5, and a -5 and 0. So one more graph here. So 3, -3, 3, -7, 5, 6, 7 would be here. Then 8, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, -5, and -2, -5. Now hopefully it's very symmetric, and you draw your crisscross through there like so. And because y was listed first, our actual hyperbola will be on the y, which is the up and down. Okay, make sure you're going through that point here, and you're going along those dotted lines. Okay, so be careful when you complete the square, and if it does end up dividing by a negative, like we did right here, you're going to have to switch the front and the back so that the minus is in the middle. Okay, ta-ta for now. Trig loves you. You gotta love it back.